Welcome back to Universe X. I asked last video if you guys wanted a discussion that was kind of more tilted towards a leader design and kind of the direction I feel like lots of things are getting, ya dig. So we're going to try to keep it concise. One, because I don't want a video that goes on too long. Two, because I'm kind of on the tail end of my hour-long lunch break. So, but a couple things just want to get out of the way. As per usual, if you haven't been in the Facebook group, please think about going there. We still got the Hermit style like podcast like giveaway in conjunction with Spiral Maui Graphics, also maybe soon known as TCG Metals, or is it TCG Metals Z? I'm gonna get clarification on that from Chris. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going around in the community, even while tournaments are kind of like, you know, kind of here and there and peppered around because of the pandemic. I wanted to talk about the leader design because I kind of, looking at Supreme Rivalry, I kind of feel like leaders are kind of tilted in a certain direction. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but so I want to make the topic, and like I said, you guys said you wanted to look at it. Couple announcements. One, gonna be trying to do that box opening and giving away of the foils for Supreme Rivalry, just like we did for the last one. Rejuvenation, Vicious Rejuvenation. So I'm going to still be trying to do that. Pre-release on the 16th, so look forward around then. Then, outside of that, I definitely am trying to do a live tomorrow on this channel. Hey, so I was actually going over this in edit, and I think it'd actually just be easier if I did this on my Twitch channel. So you can go in the description, UXG Live, I think 8 p.m. on Twitch. That's the move. Back to the video. I should be starting at about 8 o'clock Eastern. So if you want to jump in, joke around, ask some questions, we can talk about anything. Video games, the card game, we can talk about like just the manga, like anything you really want. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball related. And if you want to go off of Dragon Ball, I mean, we'll see about it. We're just here to have a good time. So looking at the leader designs, I'm gonna say it right here. I think there's 3 different types of leaders, you know, that we can kind of go into. Those being, I guess I'm just gonna, in order, my favorite personally is open end. Okay, open end is a leader that, yes, they may print support for it in the same set, but this leader could have probably existed in another set and still utilize things. I like these leaders because they leave the most room for solid deck building. They leave the most room for you to look at how other cards interact with it and kind of slide them in. You don't have to sit here and just know that if the deck isn't strong enough from just the set, it's just not going to fall flat on its face. And I think in this set, there's really only one leader that kind of strikes me as Omega open end, and that's Supreme Kai of Time. You look at it front, just burst 3, when this card attacks, draw 1 card, and yeah, your life is at 4 or less, and you have 8, or you have 8 or more cards in your warp. You can draw 2 cards, add cards from your life until you have 6 life left. Flip this card over. On its back, it has an ability that keeps overwhelms on the board. This is not restricted, and even in this set, it gets a lot of cards that say your leader has to be a Supreme Kai of Time. But it doesn't force you to play in this set. It doesn't force you to drop the deck, you know, if people just don't print enough stuff for it. Eventually it probably will get power cracked, but who knows? Like in a game like this with an effect like that, it could be some time before a black leader power creeps this, because this looks to be the premier overwhelm spam deck. Maybe not the de facto black leader, but definitely if your focus is on overwhelms, this is the leader that you will want to play. So I like these the most. I think they have just open design space and they're just fun to play around with. Second type is what I call loose focus. You have King Vegeta. This is the example I have for him. I'm gonna be real, I definitely underestimated this guy upon release. Like, don't at me, I already know I did. Like, yeah, I even underestimated in my last video. He's a lot better than I thought because his front side is not actually chained really. I mean, he's gonna put the field card on your board when he comes into play, which is the beginning of the game, of course. And when he attacks, you get to look at the top 5 cards from your deck, add up to 1 mono red sand card, the injury cost of 5 or less. That can be super combos. Like, he will search Raditz super combo. That can be a plethora of cards, an amazing amount of cards actually. And when your life is at 4 or less, you may draw 1 card and switch up to 1 of your energy active mode. Add all of the cards to your life from your life to your hand until you have 5 left. and then flip this card over. So this guy is actually really neato, because any sand with a cost of 5 or less could potentially slot into his deck that's red. That's actually just amazing. And then his backside has a little bit more focus towards his archetype with the 500 power sands, but at the same time, this guy is able to, again, not really be constrained. You're gonna have to build his core, especially to work off of his backside. But any mono red sand with a energy cost of 5 or less is going to have to be looked at to be seen if it can be abused by this card. That's a loose focus. And yes, you will have to use a core. You will still have to use the Young Invader's core because of the field card, because of his backside, but you can build quite around it. And like I said, there's a lot they can do to like shadow buff this deck in the future. Another example of loose focus is the Sun Gohan from this set as well. These are all from this set. But for him, looking at his archetype, because he needs the vanilla on the board, chances are you really just need to run 6 to 7 of the 2-drop vanillas in blue, and then you need to run, I'd say, minimum 7, maximum 9 of the energy exhaust people. Probably 8ish is probably a good number too, but 7 to 9 of the energy fortification cards, so that you can have that opening setup of charge a vanilla, charge a energy fortification, do a shenanigans, awaken turn 2. So the core for this deck is going to be about 15-16 cards, but then you have the remaining, you put the super combos in there going to 20, you have about 30 cards of playroom that you can use with this deck. And so as long as you have that initial core, this deck is going to be able to be built however which way you want. So any blue card can be a potential weapon. Any card that buffs skill list can be a potential weapon. So this is what I mean by loose focus. I can't promise that, like, I wouldn't think it's realistic to think that every leader is going to be like just completely open-ended. So I think this is the happy medium, you got to use things from the set, its initial drop, to make it work, but it has so much room to do more things. Now we're gonna go into the last type. This type I hate. Super themed, like tight focused. My example first is Bojack. His permanent reduces the combo cost of Bojack Brigade cards in your hand by 1, and then his activate battle, use 1 mono blue Bojack Brigade in your energy in a combo. If you do, place top card of your deck into your energy in rest mode. And then just right off the rip, this is kind of wild. Even if it was just charging Bojack's Brigade, 1, it specifies mono yellow or mono blue, which is immediately going to lock it out of the yellow cards that have already been printed into the archetype, which is sad. And then the other thing that kind of sucks is that since it looks at the top of your deck to flip, the moment you can't flip or with this effect or charge a Bojack Brigade, you kind of lose. And that means that your deck has to be saturated with Bojack Brigade to make this a reliable ability. And then all the effects do different things when they're comboed from the energy. So essentially, this makes me sad, because all they have to do is just forget about mono blue Bojack's Brigade, and if this is your favorite deck, it will not see play for quite some time. This is the easiest design to do from a designer standpoint, because all they have to do to nerf a deck is stop caring about it. All they have to do to bring this deck back into the spotlight is print a TP, print a promo card. But it really limits deck building. You have only a few ways to build a deck that, as all archetypes are like, you really just have the best cards of the archetype in there, and it is easily going to be phased. If you fall in love with this deck, congratulations. It's probably not going to have a resurgence unless they go out of their way to make it so. Another just option to that is SS Sun Gohan, Hope of Resistance. This is the Awakened side, because on his non-Awakened side, he is able to kill any yellow blocker can die, and he will flip. But once he's on his front side, both of his autos require a yellow Trunks future. Yeah. Second one requiring it to be mono yellow. So this limits design space again. We have some yellow trunkses, but again, all you have to do is just forget about it and this leader will just fall off. And I just don't like those. It kills the longevity of the cards. It makes the set feel weaker as a whole. And it makes you kind of feel weird about investing, trying to make that master collection, unless you really just want that master collection, because some of these cards are just not going to be factors in the future. So that's kind of that. And then when you look to this set, right? 10 leaders in each set. So the part that kind of kills me is that when you look at the themed focused ones, right? And granted, this has been the way it's been for a couple sets now. I'm hoping they change more to loose focus, because I would like us to be able to play our favorite characters more or less and just figure out which ones are better. Well, better for us as players. Like, you know, if you like your favorite blue leader, play your favorite blue leader. I don't want themes as much, because they really just make flash fire decks for the set. And, you know, the prices spike, you play the deck's dead by either next set or maybe potentially a block after. So looking at all this, you have like Gohan. He's a loose focus. That's pretty cool. And you move over to the Bojack. Bojack is a tight theme. So that's already half. You move over to Bardock. Bardock and King Vegeta are luckily loose focus, and that's wonderful. So Red has some assets that could last for sets to come. You move over to the next leaders that show me, Green. Chilled is weird because Chilled has a very small niche, but it's still, nothing in here is kind of restrictive in his effect. You can use all sorts of cards, but his leader is still his leader. Now you're gonna want to use cards that make Chilled tokens, don't get me wrong, but Chilled is actually surprisingly generic for how niche his token spam is. King Cold isn't super archetype deck, but just because of the way it's set up, there are cards that have previously existed that you could probably use. But no, I mean, Cooler's gonna sit in that tight, or King Cold is gonna sit in that tight theme. Son Gohan, tight theme. Android 17 and 18, they're not as tight theme. They're actually pretty loose themed. Again, that's pretty tight. Moving on to Black. You've got the only open-ended, but then Mecha Gabor is a straight tight theme. So it's just kind of weird. I find more times than not, they're gonna start releasing these tight themes because it just makes it so much easier to balance. In fact, you just don't have to balance. You stop printing, or you just decide to print. Turles, you know, like D-Bro, like these decks where they can live or die depending on just how the printing goes. And it's just like usually one single line, you know, that kind of sets them apart like that. So it is kind of weird. It is what it is, though. I want to know your thoughts. What's your favorite? Do you guys like loose-ended, or do you guys like archetypes more? I just want to know your opinion and just kind of go from there. If you like the content, think about hitting that subscribe button. Like I said, tomorrow night I'm going to try to go live around 8 Eastern time, so we can just chat with the homies on the channel, get a Y'all Your Collective chat up on here. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you the next time you decide to join UMRSX. Later.